Is it all okay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had a sub 40 minute like an hour ago.
Crazy.
And then that. Then had to restart the game after fucking.
No, he took his sausage roll. I want the last one.
Wait, where do I put this laptop on?
Find the exposed brace.
Just let me handle that. Let me handle that.
Are you sure?
No, we can just do. No, we'll just get rid of it. Okay, put it back. Open the laptop.
Trying to get it so that the cam can capture the like more of this. Like I don't really care about my face, but it's more about.
So fun. No, it's down there. Please wait. Just please wait.
To be fair, the webcam's like not. We don't have to have the webcam.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay with you, Draco?
If that's easier, yeah. It's like it's not essential, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I could just mount it. Oh wait, that is.
Yeah, that works as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Get the time on the screen in a second.
Do you want me to just the webcam so your hands up? Like the hand's changing it, yeah, there we go. You've got more space.
You don't have to stay. You don't have to care about the webcam.
Yeah.
I'll fix everything. Just get it.
Well, I'm pretty much good to go.
Yeah, you can go. You can set turbo on your computer off.
Okay, yeah. Should I just go whenever I'm ready? Alright, so I'm gonna get going in 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Boktai 2, Solo Boy Django for Game Boy Advance, and I'm playing on DS because it's a pretty nice portable capture solution. As you may be able to see on the webcam, I've got a bit of a flashlight here. So this game, the GBA cartridge has a solar panel that you may be able to see on cam slightly. And you're intended to play this game outdoors in real sunlight, but that's not very practical for speedrunning. So what we're going to do is use a UV flashlight to spoof the solar sensor instead. First thing I'm going to do here is pause the game and switch the text speed to fast. This saves a few seconds across the full run, even though it takes a few seconds to do the menuing to do that, but it saves some net time. So the story of this game is that you are a vampire hunter. You are the Solar Boy Django. And you have a solar gun, the Gun del Sol, that can shoot balls of sunlight, which is extremely powerful at this point, but we're actually about to lose the gun, and we'll only have our bare hands to fight the undead hordes for the start of the game. We come across this vampire who attacks us and steals the solar gun, and our sunflower friend, Django here, is like, well, that's fine because only the bloodline of solar children can use the solar gun, because it's useless in his hands, but then he shoots you with the solar gun and then takes off with it. So we're now completely defenseless and don't have any weapons. Like I say, right now you only have bare hands to deal with the undead, which is less than ideal because the undead do not really stay dead when you don't kill them with the power of the sun. So this presents some challenges. So the first thing we're going to do is go through a couple of pseudo-stealth rooms and then try and find a weapon to be able to fight the undead with. We get some story exposition here, bad guys trying to do evil plots to end the world. It's pretty typical video game, slightly anime stuff. And we get some nice sprite scaling here, showing some nice GBA graphical capabilities, considering this game is over 20 years old, this game will be over 20 years old, I think. Yeah. I forget the exact release date. I'm sure Doc in the chat will remind me. So we're going to just dodge enemies in these first couple of rooms, and I'm going to walk into a trap here, where I'm not going to be able to leave this room until defeating the enemy, but I cannot defeat the skeleton with my bare hands, so I'm going to have to go and find a weapon. So I'm going to go in this adjoining room and find a sword, the Gladius, and Otenko's like, well, I guess that's better than nothing, so go and deal with the skeleton now. So I'm going to get behind the skeleton and hit it 3 times, and then I'm going to move into its new blind spot. So you always want to hit enemies from behind in this game if you can. It deals additional damage. And it also, on a lot of enemies, stuns them for a little bit when you do hit them from behind. I also got a level up. This does play like an action RPG, and you have stat points that you can allocate. I'm not going to allocate my stats quite yet. I'm going to get a armor here, and I'm going to take off my current armor so that you can move faster. So you have 8 different movement speeds in this game, where your movement speed is a product of your agility stat minus your weight stat. So by taking off armor and having 0 weight, you can move faster, but it also means that you have 0 extra defense. So we hit this zombie 3 times for 0, and then the sunflower girl Zazie turns up here and she's like, alright dude, this is not going to work. You cannot fight the undead without the power of the sun, so I'm going to hook you up with this glove here, the Sol Device, which I believe is an actual Latin term, which is a nice play on words. And this allows you to use enchantments, which is like imbues your weapons with elemental affinities. So she's going to give us Enchant Sol, so we can now use the power of the sun in our physical weapons, at least. So we're going to go from dealing 0 damage to the zombie to killing it in 2 hits from behind. Like, you just melt the undead with Sol. So not too bad, and we're going to move on. So now we're going to be killing enemies in a pretty strictly experience routing fashion. I'm going to kill the first ghoul that I come across here, 4 hits from behind, and move on. I'm going to come to the city San Miguel, where people are going missing and, you know, stuff is going wrong, etc. The first place we're going to have to go from here is the cathedral to the northwest, where like a seal has been weakening and the local blacksmith has gone to check stuff out, but he hasn't come back. So we need to go and find him and see what's going on. And we get some more story exposition here about like the awakening of the Doomsday Beast, which the immortals, the vampires in this game, are trying to awaken. Not much is known about what the Doomsday Beast is, other than just it's some primordial being that's sleeping underneath the city. Like, it's not a living being, it's not even an undead being, it's just an eternal being that is neither living nor dead. So even the immortals are afraid of it because like it can't even be killed because it's not even undead. But nonetheless, they think it will be very useful for helping them destroy the world, and they are right in that, to be fair. So you'll notice that I haven't been using the UV flashlight yet. At this point, I'm going to switch it on so that I have the option of using it. Hopefully this isn't going to be blowing out the webcam too much because it is a UV light. There we go, alright. In before it leaves a like UV burn at some point. So I'm going to have the option to use this. I don't want to be using it yet because I am going to be killing a few ghouls outdoors. And if the sun is out, outdoor undead just die instantly in the sun. And you don't get experience when that happens. So I need to be able to deal the killing blow myself to get the experience. And I'm going to start using sunlight once I reach my next level, which is going to be in 3 enemies time. So I need 2 more kills to reach level 3, and then I will turn the sun on by moving the DS into the light stream. So level up. Going to put my stat points in, 1 point into strength and the rest into agility. By reaching 17 agility, my movement speed goes up again. And now I'm holding the DS in the light stream, and you can see the solar sensor at the bottom is fully lit up. Now, it's from 0 to 10, the sun sensor, and having consistent 10 sunlight is very difficult under natural circumstances. Like, I don't know exactly how much natural sunlight you need, like how much natural UV is needed for 10, but it is a lot, and it's more than you can generally get. Like, on a clear, sunny day, you'll get like half of it, maybe. Wait, that's fine. So you can get like a few sun naturally, but it's generally impossible with natural sunlight to actually get 10 sun in this game, whereas by using a strong UV flashlight like this, you can get it pretty consistently. So here's the hammer. There's 3 different weapon types in this game: swords, hammers, and spears. And now I'm going to have the sun off, going back into the screen, because again, I need to kill this ghoul naturally. Then I'm going to, whoops, okay, get my hammer. And going to do some block pushing. There is a lot of puzzle solving in this game. Like, if you want to play this game even casually, ooh, thank you, you're going to need to get used to the idea of doing a lot of puzzle solving, and much of it is in the form of block pushing or doing like floor panels in a lot of cases. This puzzle in this room is just pushing a sequence of gravestones. I need to push the second gravestone in the first row, the first one in the second row, and the second one in the third row. There's also a dog patrolling this graveyard, which is extremely powerful and tanky at this point in the game. It's very bad news if you aggro the dog. Kills you very quickly and you can barely damage it, so just do not do that. I'm going to turn off the sun at this point. I don't need it for a while, and it has fully recharged my energy meter. I'm going to go into the basement so we can get into the cathedral. So, just a quick block puzzle again. It's a very simple one. And now I'm going to kill all the ghouls as I'm passing through this basement here. Just 3 hits from behind on each of them. Nice, nice. That was pretty good for that one. Now the bats here are in random positions on the wall. That's pretty friendly. I'm going to switch to fire here, and I'm going to knock on the central wall here to distract this zombie so that it walks forward and I can just bypass it. The room locks if the zombie sees you, and even though I went right in front of it, you can see the zombies are pretty blind in this game. I'm going to refill my energy on this solar station. It's always faster to refill on a solar station if you have the option rather than manually refilling your energy. And now we're going to solve another puzzle here. I need to push this block so I can walk through here. And I also need to be able to reach this lamp to unlock the door at the end. So we're going to do that. And now just run through and get the lamp to unlock the door. Now in the next room I'm going to need to light 2 torches and then hit the switch while the torches are lit. So a little bit of menuing to switch to my hammer. Now I need to enable flame again for the next room. Need to light the 2 torches again and do a bit of wall shimmying. This torch does stay lit long enough for you to be able to reach this second one pretty trivially. Now I'm going to turn off my enchantment so I'm not spending energy, just need to hit these rusty switches as this platform is ascending. Switch to Soul and Sword, and now put my stat points into Strength. Yeah, I do want Soul enabled here. So we're going to get into the cathedral here. And pretty much immediately going to run into another trap where we're going to see the gimmick of the cathedral here. So the little black cat Nero is trying to take us into the basement, show us where the immortal is, but the staircase is going to disappear, and you can see there's a floor mural here with 4 different colours. So the floor mural disappears, and to get the staircase back we need to get the floor mural back. So I need to find 4 coloured crystals throughout the cathedral. And they are in different spots, you know, like just different wings of the cathedral, so we'll deal with them as we can get them. So I'm going to deal with these 3 skeletons, use the same tactic as before, where I'm just going to do 3 from behind and then move into the new blind spot. I move onto the 3rd skeleton's position as it dies there in case it gives me a random drop, because after you finish the trap you don't have the option of moving, you just go into a cutscene. So this is the first crystal, the yellow crystal. So you just get given it, which is nice. But the other 3 are a little bit more laborious to find. So I'm going to knock on the wall here to distract this ghoul. It's going to walk over the floor panel to unlock the door at the end. And I'm going to switch to fire so I can light this torch. Switch to hammer so I can break these blocks. Alright, whatever. I just want to be safe and not destroy that 3rd block there, because you need it to be able to pass here. And we get a key here so we can go deeper into the cathedral, and as I go back I'm going to place the yellow crystal in the wall indent here, and this is like, the game shows you like how this general puzzle is going to work. So we get the yellow part of the mural back, so as you place the crystals in their respective spots, you'll get different parts of the floor mural back. Recharging my energy to like about like 70 to 80% there. I'm going to kill a ghoul as I pass through this room. And now there's 18 different light spots in this room where the red crystal can be. Okay, so I don't see it in the best possible spot, so I'm just going to do a more thorough sweep on my second visit. You pass through this room 3 times, so I just check the most optimal spot on the first visit, and I'm going to do a more thorough sweep on the second visit. So that trap's pretty trivial. And I'm now going to find the spear here, my third weapon type. Spear and hammer are almost never used for combat, but they are used for puzzle solving in different spots. Okay, I do not want to take that much damage, but whatever. That was just a bit sloppy on my part. You do, thankfully, get access to a lot of health refills in this game. Something you did not see before starting the run is you can set the system time when starting up this game, and by playing on the date of a real lunar full moon, you have access to full health refills, because if you try and channel the sun when the sun isn't out, you instead summon moon bugs, and that only happens on a lunar full moon date. But it does mean that this run is actually pretty reasonable considering how dangerous it can be, but you do get as many health refills as you want as long as you have access to an outdoor screen where you can like channel sun power. So I'm gonna check these light spots as I'm moving through the room. Oh, I see it there. So I'm gonna grab the red crystal before I leave the room here, so that I at least don't have to look for it when I'm coming back through. So my resources are pretty spent here. I have no energy, I've got very little life, but as I go outside, I'm going to get pretty much all my energy back just from moving around outdoors with sunlight. And before I go back indoors, I'm also going to turn the sun off. I'm just going to move the DS, and I'm going to summon moonbugs to get all my health back. So I'm going to destroy these two statues now that I have Spear. And this is going to reveal where the blue crystal is. So I'm going to get my health back here. So as you can see, it's a pretty convenient system, and running this game would be nightmarishly difficult if this mechanic was not in the game. So I've got the blue crystal, going to go back indoors now, and we just need to find the green crystal now, because I already got the red crystal from the main room here. So I can turn the sun off because I already found the red crystal. Need hammer and fire for the next puzzle solving instance. Okay, the position of the bats on the walls in this room is random. That's a good position. They did not aggro as I was moving through. Just shimmy along here. So now in this library, I need to talk to 4 specific bookcases to open the door at the end. Reading the hint panel in the upstairs room before I took the trapdoor is so that I know how to do this puzzle. Like, even if you know what this puzzle is, the game doesn't allow you to solve this puzzle until you've checked the hint panel in the upstairs room, which is a bit irritating, but, you know, is what it is. Okay. So I'm gonna trigger this lamp. Need to now push these blocks in a specific way so that I can pass to the other side of the room and get the other lamp. Switch to spear, it's the next weapon I'm gonna need, and turn on my flame enchant. Gonna take a detour here to get my next key and an item that I will use later on, very conveniently placed. So I need to light these torches as I'm passing with the spear. Just get on the corner here so I can exit slightly sooner. And do some more block pushing so that I can reach this final lamp, which will reveal the chest that contains the green crystal. And then I will have all 4 of the coloured crystals, and I just need to put them in their proper spot to reveal the staircase so I can go down to the basement, which is where the immortal is.
It's a pretty nice turnaround.
It's a pretty nice turnaround, so that I can just be on the chest immediately.
Like first available frame.
Pretty much.
Decent pace to that.
Decent pace to that room based on where the music was.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Okay.
Okay.
So I need to get.
So I need to get
two more kills
of ghouls as I backtrack.
I
should get my next level up when I kill the second ghoul, which is like the final opportunity I really have for combat before the next boss. So the idea is to get one more level up before I go into the next boss fight. So one more ghoul down here.
I am short.
I am short.
I'm short by 2.
I'm short by 2. Okay, I'll just kill one more.
Bit of a.
Oh my god! Oh my god! All right, that was 100% worth. So I just got a 1% drop from one of those ghouls, and that's a really good drop to get. That is gonna completely remove a 50-second RNG swing after the first boss. I will describe that a little more later. Oh my god, that is insanely lucky. I am not at all unhappy about needing to go back there now. Gonna turn the light on here so that I can do a dual refill my health and a little bit of energy at the same time. It's just health that I really worry about there. Because I'm going to have a solar station available before I go into the next boss fight, which I mentioned before, it's always more efficient to use a solar station to refill than it is to manually recharge.
I'm going to keep the sun
So I'm going to keep the sun on until I get through these skylights. It just squeezes a little bit more. Well, I was trying to, but the solar sensor is designed to be temperamental, so I didn't actually get any recharge there. Nice. Switch to spear now. And I can turn the light off here as I'm moving through. I'm not going to need it until after the boss fight.
So I'm just going to refill
my energy on the solar station, put my stat points in, and put my armor back on for the boss fight. Yeah, that's fine. And move into the boss fight.
So this is the
first of the 4 immortals that have been awakening. This is White Daenerys, and she's going to take the form of a giant moth, which is going to fly around the room, summon adds, and try and attack from above. By lighting the torches in the center, you can bring her down to the ground and be able to hit her. Lighting all 4 of these with a single thrust is very precise. I'm not sure what the pixel window is, but it is very precise to hit all of these in one thrust. So doing pretty decent so far. Yep, haven't missed any thrusts yet. And I'm going to try and hit these adds as much as possible during downtime. Of course, the lava hit me there.
So
this gives you an opportunity to see, like, if you don't get the torches very quickly, this is what happens. She like flies above and drops like chlorophyll on you, etc.
And that wastes a few
seconds every time that happens. But that was still a decent fight overall. It's not the worst, but the larvae can really harass you, and that did end up happening. It's like, whatever.
Oh, I know why I didn't.
Oh, I know why I didn't get my level up before. It's because I forgot to kill a crow outside. Yeah. I was 2 EXP short, and I didn't kill a crow, which gives you 4 EXP. So yeah, go figure. So you defeat the immortal, one of the vampires, but because she's an immortal, she doesn't die outright. So you need to just restrain her and put her inside the coffin. And so you can't get rid of these immortals for good unless you purify them. So now that we've got the coffin sitting there, we're gonna drag the coffin, physically drag the coffin all the way back to town, so that we can do the purification in what's called the pile driver, which is like just a giant sun machine, essentially. You're gonna see it get summoned once we get back to town. We're gonna turn the sun on here, as I don't have a better opportunity for downtime from this point onwards. And as soon as I grab the coffin, I'm going to take off my armor and use one of the power nuts that I obtained before, so I can get 30 seconds of buffed movement speed. So I can now drag the coffin really quickly. Before we can get outside, I'm going to need to solve one more puzzle, because I don't have the key to get outside. So we're going to go into this one room that I haven't been into yet.
since I now have the coffin.
Since I now have the coffin as a solid object, I can solve this puzzle by having all 3 switches pressed at once. Now, since I got the sword drop before, I'm just going to get this one chest which has a dull knife inside, and I'm going to use these 2 swords to do a forge once I get back to town.
Get
the coffin and keep going.
And I'm
gonna re-up my buff once this runs out. Gonna use a second power nut. So I'm gonna get 30 more seconds of buff time, and this should last me all the way back to town now.
It's like,
you need to just manually drag these coffins all the way back to town, and this takes a lot longer if you don't have these power nuts. So it's very nice to be able to expedite the process here a bit. The solar sensor just being a bit temperamental with receiving the sun. I don't know if it's at all related to the section of the game, because it was doing this in my last practice run at this section as well, more so than anywhere else. Very strange. Either way, getting back to town here. Having any buff time left once you get on this screen is very good going, so decent-ish movement. So now Otenko is going to summon the pile driver. Going to put the coffin in the center, and going to turn on some generators here. So I'm going to turn on 3 of these generators with enchanted attacks. I'm going to leave the 4th one inactive until the purification begins. And the sun is, again, it's being temperamental. It's deciding to just turn off. And you can't begin purifications unless the sun is on, so I'm really glad that the sensor is deciding to be temperamental there. So with max sunlight, which, as I said before, you can't really naturally get max sunlight in this game, but if you do have it, the purifications go extremely quickly in this game. Like, you burn through Danae extremely quickly there. She is the first, so she's the weakest. They do take longer as the game progresses, but that first one, it goes by in a few seconds. It's very, very nice. So we're going to get some more story here, but we are coming up to the blacksmithing minigame, which is, normally this is a big RNG swing. I would normally use a mace and a spear to do the craft to try and get a sword, but by using mace and spear to make a sword, you have a roughly 80% chance to get a bad weapon, and then you need to do a second forge to guarantee getting a good weapon. But because I got that sword drop in Cathedral, the Gladius, from one of those ghouls, which is roughly a 1% chance from a ghoul, I can just combine 2 swords to get a guaranteed short sword. So that is really, really convenient RNG. The higher tier ghouls, the zombies, have roughly a 10% chance to drop those, but the basic ghouls have like a 1% chance to drop a Gladius, so that was like super, super good. So we get more plot here, the, like, you know, Smith introduces himself and all that, and we're going to find that the route to the next dungeon has been opened. But before we go to the next dungeon, like I say, you need to forge a weapon. So I'm going to turn the sun back on here, and I'm going to try and get partial sunlight here by holding the DS at a specific angle relative to where my flashlight is. I want roughly half sun here. Yeah, if I can get like 5 sun, that's ideal. Going to do this forge with the knife and the Gladius, and I'm going to do 25 hits here. You don't want to exceed 25 hits in a forge minigame, because it actually gives you a worse weapon for whatever reason. And you want to aim for the best possible hits here. So 2 more sets of 5. So I missed a few greats there, but that is still more than good enough. It's going to give me the short sword, and it should be a short sword like +3 based on how well I played the game, but I'm not going to stop to check. It's not like you can change the result at this point. Just going to move on. I did get my short sword. I'm not going to equip it quite yet. I'm going to put the hammer on so that I can destroy a block that's preventing me from getting to the remains. Put my sword back on, my little Gladius. And the next trap that I'm going to run into is actually extremely dangerous. It's some vampire bats, but they actually deal very heavy damage since I have no armor on, they're going to kill me in 2 hits, and you don't really have iframes in this game. So, yeah, it's very easy to just die extremely quickly here, so I'm hoping that's not going to happen. I'm not going to put the armor on because it's slower to do so. The ideal strategy in this game is just don't get hit, just don't die. Like, this game at top level really boils down to just play well and don't get hit. Yeah, fine, that's good enough. So now I'm going to put the short sword on. I should have also put in my 3 stat points there while I was doing that. That wasted a bit of menuing there, but that's fine. So killing a couple of yellow slimes here, but I'm not using an enchantment to do it. They have extremely high elemental resistance, and the next room that I go into, you strictly want to have 0 sunlight in this room, because there's solar wind in this room, which pushes you around based on the strength of the sun. And these, like, platforms, these cliffs, they're all sheer cliffs, and there's no safety mechanic here. If you fall off the edge, it's instant death. Like, there's nothing you can do to prevent dying there. And if you're doing a full any % run in this game, you can't really afford to die, in a literal sense, because it costs currency to continue, and your currency is pretty strictly routed to be able to afford what you need throughout the route. So, like, if you're, like, going for, you know, like, any % world record attempts, taking deaths, it's like, it's not really the point that it's a time loss, it's more that by dying, you kind of need to reset, because you can't really finish the route at that point. It's a really punishing run, full any %. This is not a full any % run, this is just going up to a certain point. It's like the first third of the... Okay, so I guess that's an example of how you can take a death there. Do I... Okay, just start from here. Like I say, because this is like not a full any % run, it's not a big deal to die, but it just shows like how easy it is to die right there. Gonna take an intentional damage boost there, as I can intentionally get my health back with the moonbugs, so that's fine. And going to come down here and use my new frost element to bypass here. Switch to flame is the next element I'm going to need. Do some block pushing here. And then I'm going to use flame to melt an ice cube and some elemental enemies here. Then get these 2 ice blocks at the top so I can get another power nut, which I'm going to need later. Need frost to freeze this block and drop it onto the switch. Switch to Sol and get my energy back. Turn off the sun, I'm not going to need it for a while. And we got the sword here, a nice mini-boss. And I'm going to wail on it with my new sword. Yeah, if I'm doing 28 damage per hit, that means I've got a short sword plus 3, which is the best you can get from the forge. Do 1 enchanted and 1 unenchanted here just to conserve a bit of energy. It's just slightly more optimal. Going to kill some yellow slimes. This room is very easy, but the next room is a nightmare. Okay, so those yellow slimes are always easy, but the clay golems in this room suck. I'm going to knock on the wall to distract them and try and get them to roll into each other, but they don't always behave consistently, and it's a bit of a problem if they don't cluster up when they hit each other. Especially, it can be an even bigger problem if they end up killing each other with the damage when they roll into each other. Thankfully, that was a very good room, but if they kill each other, that is actually a problem because you don't get the experience from that, and the EXP route assumes that you get all the kills from there. So I can actually just slip behind this clay golem and unlock this door now. And now we find Django's edgy brother, Sabata, and that's not like a joke, this actually is Django's brother, where Django is the solar child and Sabata is the lunar child, who uses the power of the moon and darkness instead of the power of the sun. But Sabata is going to give us Enchantment Cloud, which is going to be used a little later on for some more puzzle solving. But for now we're just going to carry on, turning the sun on here during downtime as I go outside so I can get some passive regen. And I'm also going to manually regen before I go indoors here to about 70%, like 70-75%. I'm going to use a power nut here so I can solve, please, game. Oh my god, menu mix hard. Alright, there we go. So I can push these blocks more easily, and we just got to push these colored blocks on the respective floor panels. Now, you can only push blocks in this game, you cannot pull blocks, so these are strictly block pushing puzzles, and so the solution needs to be, you know, worked around as such, that you never have the ability to pull blocks in this game. Using Cloud to destroy a stone block here so I can get a key. Don't want to destroy this stone block, you want to push it so you can bypass. but you do want to destroy this stone block in the corner here. Like, this is coming back to where we originally met Kid earlier. Oh wait, I can use flame next. So just getting outside, I need to turn my enchant off because I need to kill another yellow slime, which again, these things you don't want to use element to kill them. They have high elemental resist. Hopefully keep the sun on until I get back indoors. Okay, like now it can go off, that's fine. So I'm just going to turn it off, because you specifically need the sun off for the next room, as there are floor panels which will trigger traps if the sun is on and summon enemies. I'm going to pick up a speed nut here, and I'm going to use another power nut to do this 4-color puzzle. So we had 2 color blocks before, now we have 4 color blocks. I'm going to use a very specific solution here so that I can try and get through here quickly, whilst managing having the room to maneuver here while pushing these blocks around. And I'm going to turn the sun on during this cutscene. Now the next thing I'm going to need to do is dodge these mummies. They make a really nice noise when they discover you, I like that a lot. And I'm just going to move through this room without killing anything. In any percent, you would kill some enemies moving through these rooms, but for this category, it is not necessary at all. Going to let this mummy run into that torch while it lights so it opens the door at the end. I'm going to shimmy up this slope without hitting that yellow slime. Take a damage boost off this yellow slime in both directions, which is a very nice little frame saver. And once I get back inside here, switch to soul, put my stat points into strength. And I can turn the light off now, I'm not going to need it for a bit. I'm going to move into the next mini-boss, which is the axe. So, the sword and the axe are not, like normally both very simple affairs. The axe does have some RNG, but let's see what happens. Okay. So that was not the best kill, but I handled it decently. So I get a level up off the axe, and if I've done the EXP route correctly, I should get another level up when I kill this golem. How far off am I? Oh. Wait, am I 10 or... Oh, I'm 10 already. That's fine. Okay. Just getting a little confused with the EXP route there, but that's fine. So, leave the sun on again as we come into the desert here. So, we need to reveal the remains, like the ruins in the center. This is a 5x5 grid, and I need to find 3 stone tablets on 3 different screens. So there's one in the best possible location. Okay, well, the sun is again turning off, so... Oh, what am I doing? No, I've already got my... Yeah, I've already got the element I need selected. I need frost here on this screen. Okay, there's 2. Switch to spear and soul here so I don't die on these vampire bats. One's still alive. Okay, but I don't have the 3rd tablet there, so I think I just need to move on. So this is looking like it's not going to be particularly good RNG, but this happens to be more often than not, honestly. Yeah, it looks like I'm making a full circuit. This is basically the worst RNG you can get, and this happens quite a lot, in my opinion. Or, it's possible that I have just been screwed by... Yeah, I've got 2 tablets, and it's possible that the game just decided not to have the sun on at, like, the moment that I tried to check a position. Like, this is, I don't know why this has started being an issue, but yeah, the solar sensor is being a little temperamental with... Yeah, it was there. Okay, so I might have just plain missed that as well. That's unfortunate. Turns out I did actually have very good RNG. Oh, nice game. It's whatever. I can turn the sun off here though. I'm not going to need it for pretty much the rest of the run. I'm just going to refill my health before I go inside the remains here. That's fine. So I'm going to need flame and sword here. Pick up a hidden chest here with another power nut. I need to solve a little puzzle here, which is just to trigger these torches in a specific order, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is always the same, this is not random. Now I'm going to need to switch to Spear and Cloud for the next puzzle. I can just, since I'm already level 10, which is what you need to be for the next boss, I can just run through this golem, don't need to worry about anything. And now we need to solve 4 different puzzles in order to get into the boss room. So I'm going to move these blocks with Spear and Frost. Oh yeah, I need one more. Now switch to Frost and do 2 hits. Now my energy is pretty low, but there's a solar station in the next puzzle room, which is pretty conveniently placed. So I'm going to recharge before I need to move this block with Cloud. I'm going to put my stat points in here and use my speed nut here so that I get 30 seconds of maximum movement speed. And this is going to last me all the way into the boss room. I still have 2 more puzzles to do, but these are very movement-based puzzles, so this is a very optimal spot to use this speed nut. On this screen, you just need to turn all the floor panels into the same color. That was a bit messy, but got there in the end. It's yeah, once you get off the intended solution for that puzzle, it's important to understand the logic behind how that puzzle works in order to get back on solving it. Just trigger that switch, which is going to blow me onto this switch here, and that's the final puzzle to be able to get into the boss room. So I will either have just enough buff time to get into the boss room, or it'll run out just before I get into the boss room, but either way you get like 30 seconds of solid movement speed here. Oh yeah, I took a few extra seconds to solve the floor panel puzzle, but that's fine, that's fine. So we come upon the vampire that we faced at the start of the game, who stole the solar gun. So hopefully we're going to get the solar gun back. But now the big bad of the game shows up, Dain, and kidnaps Otenko, so you're completely alone. Vampire turns hostile and is going to just charge forward and kill us, but Sabata comes in and saves you, and now you and Sabata need to work together to be able to beat the vampire here. So you can't attack this guy normally. Anytime you try to attack, you're just going to dodge and counterattack. So Sabata is going to be in the center of the room, building black holes to try and immobilize him. So this first phase is all about misdirecting the vampire's attacks to protect Sabata, so that he can just build these black holes. Now he's going to try and directly attack with swords from 3 different angles. Gonna stand here to be able to push in with 2 attacks and deal half his health in 1 cycle. So ideally this is a 2-cycle fight, where if you follow the damage route correctly, you will not trigger a 3rd cycle in this fight. Hopefully I won't, but my weapon durability broke a little later than I expected, so I dealt a little extra damage. Hopefully that isn't going to be a problem, we'll see. Gonna misdirect him 3 times here so that I can just push him in again. And okay, I was not sure about that because I accidentally dealt 6 damage with an enchanted hit while he was out of the black hole. That's fine. So now Django gets glomped, and he's not able to bring himself to deal the finishing blow to the vampire, because once they get a good look at this guy's face, they realize, like, oh, that's actually our father, who was like a legendary vampire hunter in the first game and went missing. So now you know what happened to him, and yeah, then he can't control himself, bites you. So now Django is actually turning into a vampire, and we need to drag the coffin back to town as Sabata to do the purification. So I'm going to get out of this room and take 2 steps before I use a power nut. So I should have, yeah, I've got 2 power nuts remaining. I'll have 60 seconds of buff time, and this is enough to get all the way back to town. So I'm going to take a specific route through the desert on the backtrack, which is a little more optimal than the most intuitive route, because the screen transitions work a little weirdly in the desert section, like on the 5x5 grid quadrant. And it's basically like you can kind of teleport through some of the screens by taking screen transitions at a certain point. It's very difficult to describe, and it makes more sense when you like see it or like when you do it yourself. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps, then go left, which is going to make me go up left off this screen. Now I can just go down left directly off this screen immediately, re-up my buff when it falls off. And this 30 seconds is going to last me all the way back to town here. It's good to backload the buff here to make sure that it runs out right at the end of this travel rather than use it early, because I've got to pass through a room which is very laggy, and the last screen before I get back to town also has black bats along the wall, and they're in random positions and they aggro if Sabata gets too close. So having them harassing you without increased movement speed is a really bad time, because Sabata only has his dart gun, the gun del Hell, to deal with enemies, and even though it's extremely strong, it's very bad at dealing with moving targets. So yeah, thankfully the bats do not aggro, which is nice. And we're able to get through pretty nice. So as you can see, the buff lasts directly all the way back to town, like 1 second left on the buff by the time you get back to town. Turning the sun on here for the last time, because Sabata needs to do the purification here, but as the lunar child with, you know, powers of darkness, Sabata does not deal with the sunlight very well. So Sabata takes direct damage while exposed to sunlight, so this purification is actually a damage race to purify Django before Sabata dies. I'm going to turn on 2 generators here before starting the purification, and I'm going to turn the other 2 generators on after the purification begins. I'm going to start this by 0 shifting, teleporting onto the coffin's location, and the fucking solar sensor again. Wow, it's actually running away. Epic. First time I've actually seen that. Yeah, I'm not sure why this is being such a continuous issue today, but yeah, this is like not normal with the solar sensor. Okay, he's going to choose a random location to go to a generator. I'm going to force him back in. But it's going to be a couple more cycles of this, and then Django is going to die. Ah, please. But that will be it. And then time is when purification complete shows up here, which is time. So I'm going to have to like diagnose what is going on with the solar sensor and why it's being temperamental, because that's not normal. But otherwise, that's the run, and it's pretty interesting tech in my opinion, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity to showcase this, so thank you guys very much. Hopefully everyone had a nice time, and yeah, I'm gonna have to have a look at this when I get home and see and see what's going wrong with that. Yeah, thank you. Play Boktai, it's cool, and play safe. Wear like sunglasses so you don't burn your retinas, and wear sunscreen on your hands if you're using a source of UV radiation, which the UV light is. So stay safe, folks, and I'll see you at some point. I don't know, but thank you very much.
All right. Yep. Stream's over. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
All right. Thanks for doing that. That was pretty great. And bye, chat.